My friends, what we're about to discover now is not an isolated political movement. It's the end of an era of legal illusions. The Brazilian minister tried to cross the United States digital border, giving orders as if he were in his own backyard. And the consequence of this won't be resolved in Brasilia, it will be resolved in Florida under American law and with the weight of the most powerful man on the planet watching every step. The siege of the Americas is unfolding before our eyes. For the United States to consolidate its hegemony on the continent and prepare for the conflict that is already looming on the horizon against China, the map needs to be clean. The Americas need to be purged of the old playbooks of the globalist left and the influence of the São Paulo Forum. And at the center of this Latin American chessboard, the current Brazilian government stands as the last major thorn in the side of the White House. And the plan to remove this aged socialist relic didn't start today. It began on January 20th, 2025. And I know that many look at the surface and wonder why things don't seem to move forward. The answer is simple. It took you 9 months to be born. You can't demand that a power structure that's been rooted for 40 years be dismantled in 24 hours. The game is being played at the highest strategic level. The pieces are falling one by one. And what happened in the last few days is the checkmate that the system tried to hide from you. Now subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and leave a like on the video because it takes work to make it. The American government commissioned a detailed surgical analysis of Brazil. Donald Trump is not just following the situation. He sent Macaulay Associates, one of the most strategic research institutes in the United States, to map the subconscious of the Brazilian people. Check this out. And the numbers that reach the Oval Office are changing the fate of our country. They don't just want to know who wins and who loses an election. They want to measure how far the system is breaking down. The research revealed an absolute tie. 45 for Flávio Bolsonaro and 45 for Lula. Months ago, the official narrative was selling a 10-point lead for the left. That lead simply evaporated. The attempts and leaks from the Dark Horse movie, from the Banco Master case, and today there was even a new leak of a photo of Flávio Bolsonaro with Forcaro's alleged hitman. All of this is to undermine Donald Trump's attempt to get his candidate elected in Brazil. The White House now knows that the current administration doesn't have the popular support it tries to project abroad. But what comes next is the real geopolitical trigger. The survey asked the Brazilian people about Brazil's Supreme Court, and the result, 72% of the population says they support the impeachment of court justices. Yeah, do you understand the practical impact of that number? If the United States decides to impose severe sanctions, cancel visas, or confiscate the assets of Brazilian judicial authorities, they would not face the nation's outrage. They will have the support of 72% of the country. The diplomatic shield that used to protect certain authorities has simply melted away. And the Brazilian people have given the United States the moral legitimacy to act. And the survey went further. 81% of Brazilians demand printed ballots. We can't talk much about this here, but over on my exclusive censorship-free platform, we can. There, we can talk. There, about the problems with the magic boxes. 52% reject the decisions that tried to ban Jair Bolsonaro from the political game. And the Brazilian people are sending an institutional distress signal. But there is data in this research that crosses the line of politics and enters the sphere of American national security. 56% of Brazilians support classifying the PCC and Comando Vermelho as terrorist organizations. And then I also asked myself, why only 56% of the Brazilian population understood that Comando Vermelho and the PCC are no longer just kids with rifles in their hands, selling drugs in the alleys, but that they even control a quarter of the national territory. Could it be them? Just think about it and answer me in the comments. That other group, the ones who don't agree with classifying them as terrorists, are they by any chance receiving some kind of benefit? Or would they be those who live trapped in areas controlled by organized crime? Honestly, I would like to have your opinion because this isn't a detail, it's the key piece. When a group goes from being a criminal organization to a terrorist group in the eyes of Washington, the law changes completely. The American intelligence apparatus, the Treasury Department, and the Pentagon gain extraterritorial authority to choke off every cent, every route, and every ally of these factions, wherever they may be. The logistics of crime in Brazil can be blown up by a decree signed in Washington, cutting off the source of funding that often infiltrates the machinery of local power, including the financing of political campaigns. But why is the American government gathering this data right now? And one of the answers is there, in a court in Florida. And this is where we get into the metaphor that defines this crisis. We're seeing the building manager trying to find the owner of the city. The Rumble platform and Trump media have filed the final response against the Brazilian government's attempt to dismiss the lawsuit in the United States against Alexandre de Moraes. Did the Brazilian government get involved trying to save the justice? They claimed he was acting on behalf of the state. Well, I didn't vote for that. Did you? Did you by any chance give your vote to Moraes so he could censor American companies? The Americans' response was a masterclass in legal demolition. They invoked the principle of ultra vires. That's exactly why the system goes into panic. While the old media tries to cover up what's really happening in that Florida court, we're here breaking through the blockade and decoding the game in real time. They've always tried to silence those who expose the flaws in the narrative, but they forgot one detail. We built the most lethal community of analysts on the Brazilian internet. And now we have the perfect chance to show how strong we really are. And I'm running for the II Best Award in the Political Influencer category. Yes, my friends, an arrow to the heart of the system. Pay attention, this isn't about winning a trophy. It's a devastating message to the establishment that our voice can't be controlled. I'm asking for your vote now. The link is in the description and in the first pinned comment. Go there quickly. Show them the absolute power of our elite. We are in first place in the voting over the last 24 hours. A week ago, we were in 44th place. And now we're in 5th place in the national ranking. Hey, my friends, you are just too powerful. So vote every day, until we secure a spot in the top 20 the next stage. Now let's get back to our chess game. Remember that term. Ultravires means acting beyond legal powers. The American defense proved that Moraes did not act under Brazilian law, nor did he respect the Constitution. What a shame! Let alone the international treaties. He acted as an individual. And an individual who commits illegal acts on foreign soil cannot hide behind their country's flag. No, my friends, we do not have that authorization. If the censorship decisions were legal in Brazil, the state would be responsible. But they are not. They violate Brazil's own constitution. And even worse, they invade the jurisdiction of the United States. Moraes tried to force American companies on American soil to censor citizens. I want you to picture that scene. Try to picture that in your mind to understand how serious it is. Imagine the servers from a giant tech company in Florida processing terabytes of global data per second, and suddenly an email arrives. It's not a diplomatic letter. It's not a document validated by the United States Department of Justice. It's an email straight to the promotions folder, with a censorship order sent from the office of a Brazilian judge more than 6,000 kilometers away, demanding that American laws be ignored. It's the greatest manifestation of arrogance that has crossed borders. And here comes the brutal twist in this story. The main evidence used against Moraes in the United States was provided by the current government itself. Weeks before this email arrived in Florida, the then Minister of Justice, Flavio Odino, had assured the United States Department of Justice that all communications and legal requests would strictly follow the proper diplomatic channels. The Brazilian government committed to respecting American sovereignty. And what happened next? Moraes ignored the agreement made by the Minister of Justice himself and sent the order directly. By doing that, he proved the prosecution's point. He wasn't acting on behalf of the Brazilian government. He was acting on his own. The system he tried to protect just provided documentary evidence that he acted outside the law. The Ministry of Justice itself paved the way for him to be held accountable as a private individual. In Florida, it's CPF, not CNPJ. The consequences of this are huge. The precedent has been set. If the Florida court sentences the Brazilian minister to pay millions in damages out of his own pocket for invading American sovereignty, the house of cards collapses. Other exiles, journalists, and persecuted citizens will use exactly the same legal precedent. The courts of Italy, Spain, and Argentina are already watching this development. And when we connect the two, the final scenario is revealed. On one side, the Florida court isolates the minister's legal status, stripping away his state protection. On the other side, the man who leads the United States is holding a poll that says 72% of Brazilians support the removal of this same minister. Donald Trump has the legal grounds and the moral support of the Brazilian people. The stage is set for heavy retaliation. Also, the tariff barrage, sanctions, and blockades, which were meticulously designed, will not be against Brazil and the Brazilian people. They will be against a specific system that the Brazilian people themselves reject. The next step will not be taken in Brasilia's plenary chamber, it will be taken on American soil. And the question that remains is no longer if the system will give in, but when the rope finally snaps. And so that we can measure the level of understanding of our elite community about what is happening in the American courts, I want you to go to the comments now and type these two keywords. They are our verdict on this crisis. Checkmate or checkmate outra vez? Yes, checkmate outra vez. Type this. Put it on the record that we already understood the game before the mainstream media tries to explain. The truth at WECRU is that, just like in geopolitical chess, the market changed its rules of power in real time. And those who don't understand how information and narratives circulate get swallowed up. Today, the most valuable currency isn't the dollar, it's attention. And for you entrepreneur or professional, the biggest pain is being the best at what you do and not being seen. You have an excellent business, but you feel like only dances or memes go viral on the internet. That's not true, it's a lie. 15 years ago, when I started in radio and TV, I understood that building authority requires strategy, a solid strategy. And today, anyone who wants to be recognized needs to accept that the game now is about media. Look at CIMED, a pharmaceutical company that understood it needed to become a media company to triple its sales. Look at Havan stores. Yes, the old man from Havan understood that he needed to reach beyond his bubble. And he did. He keeps opening one store after another. And in this chaotic national economy, is there profit? Yes, my friends, your identity cannot be outsourced. The owner needs to put himself out there like Luciano Hang did and guide the business vision. But the time when just recording a little video was enough is over. This space demands professionalism. And that's how you make the algorithm work for you. You gain margin, attract elite clients, and build a strong business that can even be monetized in dollars. Exactly like the method I used to get over 50 million views per month on my social media. And if you want this clarity for your business to present itself professionally, on August 16th, I will hold a 100% in-person immersion locked in with me in my studio here in Curitiba. I will personally guide the construction of your identity, but I'm strict. There are only 10 seats. When the 10th spot is taken, the steel door closes and that's it. QR code on the screen, the secure link is in the description and in the first pinned comment. Secure your spot now and bulletproof your communication. And if you want to stop wasting your time looking for something to watch, my friends, and get away from those shallow narratives, check out our channel now for exclusive recommendations for shows and movies. These are spot-on recommendations, straight to the point, no whining, and completely free from that woke culture that tries to manipulate you and your family through movies and series. Link in the description, in the pinned comment, and in the card that appears on your screen. Now subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and leave a like on the video because it takes a lot of work to make. Shield your mind. I'm Shimon Oliveira and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.